You ever get a song stuck in your head like you can't stop hitting replay?
Oh, all the time. Happens to the best of us.
Lil Wayne's Don't Cry, featuring XXXTENTACION off the Carter V, has been on repeat for me. Days now. It's just something else.
It's funny you mentioned that. Don't Cry has a really interesting backstory. The chorus, especially.
Really? What's so special about it?
You'd think, with how raw and emotional it feels, that X wrote it specifically for this track. But nope, not at all.
Wait, seriously, it fits the song so well. I always thought it was made for Don't Cry.
Total accident, almost like fate stepped in. X actually recorded that chorus with a whole different producer, Z3N, for something that never even came out.
No kidding.
Then, way later, Ben Billions, the producer for Don't Cry, stumbles across it. Through Lunch Money Lewis, no less. Music industry connections, right? You never know.
Talk about a happy accident. So we got this chorus just floating around, ends up on that Carter V. I am so in for this. Where are we starting?
So we're going deep on Don't Cry. Not just the words themselves, but like everything underneath. We're going to talk about who X might be singing to. We'll break down Lil Wayne's versus all the symbolism and metaphors he throws in and really dig into the bigger picture, mortality, resilience, faith, that kind of stuff.
All right, let's get into it. The chorus is so simple, but man, it hits hard. Don't cry, don't go, won't lie, I fucking love you. X's voice. There's this rawness to it that gets me every time.
And the thing is, we don't know for sure who he's singing to. A lot of people think it's about his ex-girlfriend, Geneva Ayala.
Right. The relationship was complicated, to say the least.
To put it mildly. Accusations, pain, the whole 9 yards. But even with all that, you can tell X still had strong feelings for her. Knowing that backstory just adds another layer to the whole thing. You know, like you can hear the heartbreak in his voice.
Yeah, definitely. And the confusion too, right? It reminded me of that line in X's song, Pain Equals Best Friend, where he says, don't cry, it won't end. Pain will always be my friend. Similar wording, similar vibe. Do you think that's intentional or just the coincidence?
It's hard to say for sure. Knowing X, though, he was all about exploring those themes. Love, loss, pain. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a deliberate choice. Like he's wrestling with those same emotions in both songs.
Yeah, it does feel that way. Two sides of the same coin almost. And then the Lil Wayne comes in with his verse and it's like, bam, we're taken to this whole other level. He's got these metaphors, these references, everything's layered, like those lines. I see death around the corner and the U-turn signs looking like a smile. It's so good. Yeah. But what's he really saying there?
Man, those lines are classic Lil Wayne. Okay, so first off, Death Around the Corner, that's a direct reference to the Tupac song.
Oh, right. I knew that sounded familiar.
Exactly. And it's not just a random shout-out. Tupac, Lil Wayne. Both these guys have had their lives on the line, in the public eye. So when Wayne uses that line, he's tapping into that shared experience, living with mortality, always kind of there.
It's like that saying, there's only two certainties in life.
Death and taxes.
Right.
And for artists like Lil Wayne, it's almost amplified.
And then he flips the script. The U-turn sign's looking like a smile, a warning sign, a chance to change course. He makes it seem almost welcoming.
Right. It's like this weird juxtaposition. Death on one side, a smiling U-turn on the other. He's telling us life is unpredictable. You never know what's coming next.
And then he brings it back to himself, gets super personal. I am not number one, it's true. I'm number 92782, grounding himself in his birthday, like stripping away the fame for a second.
Totally. Reminding us that underneath all that, he's still Dwayne Carter.
And don't forget that Carter V dropped on his birthday. So there's this extra layer there.
Exactly. Marking a milestone by connecting it to his own beginning. It's kind of beautiful when you think about it.
It really is. Yeah. And speaking of beginnings and endings, there's this line that always gets to me. I sip from the fountain of youth, so if I die young, blame the juice.
He's talking about lean, right?
Yeah, he is. And it's a tough topic, lean. It's a big deal in hip-hop, you know? It's a mix of cough syrup, soda, sometimes candy. Creates this feeling of euphoria. But it's super addictive and really, really dangerous.
We've lost so many talented artists to it. Pimp C, DJ Screw, it's heartbreaking.
And what Wayne does so well is that he's not glorifying it. He's being real. He talks about the appeal, that escape it offers, but he also acknowledges the consequences. He's not sugarcoating it.
It's like he's wrestling with it internally. The allure, the risk, that push and pull. And that's something a lot of people can relate to, whether it's lean or something else. We all have those things we know aren't good for us, but they offer an escape. It's that human struggle.
And he knows it could be his downfall, too, especially with what he says right after, bury me in New Orleans. Tombstone reads, don't cry, stay tuned. Man, the layers in just those two lines. His roots, his legacy, it's all there.
For sure. You could practically hear that New Orleans pride in his voice. It's home, where he came from, where he wants to end up.
And even facing death. Stay tuned. Gotta love that Lil Wayne humor. He's winking at us from beyond the grave.
Right. Turning something heavy into a joke. Classic Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
But then he switches it up again. Bring me back to life. Gotta lose a life just to have a life. But if heaven's as good as advertised, I want a triple extension on my motherfucking afterlife. Rest in paradise.
Whoa. So much to unpack there. Lose a life just to have a life. What do you think he means by that?
It's deep, man. It could be about the sacrifices he's made. You know, to get to where he is, he had to leave some things behind, maybe parts of himself. Or maybe it's more about growth, like shedding old skin to become who he is now.
I like that. And the triple extension line. I thought he was just talking about heaven at first, but knowing Wayne, there's got to be more to it.
You know it. Remember when he first heard X's name? He called him Triple Extension. Fans think this line is a shout-out to that. Even in the afterlife, he's keeping X close.
Wow, that went right over my head. That changes things. Like he's inviting X to join him in this extended afterlife.
Exactly. Shows the respect he had for X. They came from different places, but there was a connection there. What gets me about this whole part, though, is how he blends these big thoughts, life, death, heaven, with this playful, almost lighthearted tone. So Lil Wayne.
He does that so well throughout the song. Dark and light, deep and funny, all mixed together. Keeps you guessing.
Keeps you listening. That's why Don't Cry is so good. It's real, it's vulnerable, but it's also entertaining as hell.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And of course, it wouldn't be a Lil Wayne track without some wisdom thrown in. That second verse, he drops, talent is God-given, be grateful. Fame is not a given, be humble. Mic drop moment right there.
Seriously. Those lines sum up Lil Wayne's whole approach. Dude's one of the most talented rappers ever, but he never acts like it. He knows he's got a gift, but he also knows he's got to work for it. Stay humble.
You see that humility everywhere. His lyrics, how he treats people, how he supports other artists.
100%. He's always learning, always growing. That's what makes him a legend, man. Always a student of the game.
And then there's that line, always gets stuck in my head. The wheels fell off. I rode the hubcap. Such a powerful image. He just doesn't quit.
Right. Like take that saying right until the wheels fall off. Usually means going all out, right? But you can't actually ride a hubcap. It's not how cars work.
He's saying he'll keep going even when it's impossible, when there's nothing left.
Exactly. No matter what, he's going to figure out a way to keep moving. That's Lil Wayne for you.
And then, one of the realest moments on the track, is it suicide or it's do or die? It's newer days and it's bluer skies. He's facing his demons head on, talking about his suicide attempt. Powerful stuff.
Heavy stuff, but also hopeful, you know? He's not shying away from it. He's saying, this is me. This is part of my story. It makes it okay to not be okay.
And then that shift. Newer days and bluer skies, like a light at the end of the tunnel. He's not pretending the darkness isn't there, but he's finding hope.
Resilience, man. That's what it's all about. Finding the strength to keep going, even when it feels impossible.
And through it all, he keeps coming back to his faith. I told myself, it's just you and I. Then the breeze came and it blew my mind. Lord knows who I'm there for. I give my last breath of air for. Mama tell me to be careful. Voice in my head, give me an earful. But I got mind control over my control. I lost control, but knew I'd find control. I let God control what I cannot control. Can't control the tears, let them drop and roll. Man, that just hits me every time.
That's that inner battle so many of us face, right? Doubt, faith, trying to control everything, then realizing we can't.
In the end, it's about letting go, trusting that there's something bigger than us.
And that brings us back to where we started. Don't cry, don't go, won't lie, I fucking love you. A tribute to X and a powerful message for everyone. Even in the face of loss, there's still love.
That's the magic of music. Like, don't cry. It stays with you. Makes you think about your own life, your own struggles.
It reminds us that even when things are tough, there's always hope, always love, always a reason to keep going. And sometimes all it takes is a song to remind us of that.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this, right? Digging deep into the music that moves us.
The connecting with each other, sharing stories, finding those moments that make us human.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and as always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive